Hello, Earlonne.
Hey, what's up, Bruce?
That's how I'm supposed to welcome you to this episode.
Well, hello, Bruce. How are you?
Good. Good to be back in the studio with you. We're jamming this in between roadshow rehearsals. We're about to hit the road in a few days. I don't know.
Yes.
Have you have everything vacuum sealed, all your clothes and luggage packed?
I haven't even went to the wash house yet.
Yeah. Me neither. We're in the studio today to do your second round of Your Sleeper Hits, where an Ear Hustle team member goes into the Ear Hustle archives and pulls out an episode that is a favorite of theirs that they want to re-listen to, return to, and draw more attention to.
Yeah, so I got a cool one.
I'm excited about this one. Tell folks what you wanted to listen to today.
So today, we're going to be listening to an episode out of our first season. Mm-hmm. It's episode 9, and it's called Gold Coats and OGs. And this one first aired October 11, 2017.
Yeah, and I feel like we returned to a lot of our episodes from that first season. There are a lot of classics in there, but this one is talked about a lot, but I haven't listened to it in years.
Damn.
Why'd you choose this one?
Well, one, the person that's talking, he's a good friend of mine.
That's Lonnie Morris?
Lonnie Morris.
Oh, yeah, he's a good friend of Ear Hustles, and he's been on since he's been out. Not to give anything away, but he's been on some episodes since he's been out, too. Remember when we did on clothing, he was sort of our expert on how inside clothing trends and policies changed over the many years he was inside.
There's a few episodes I've always, like it was interesting to do because we got a different side of not just all the crazy shit that goes on in prison, but, some humanitarian that goes on inside of that joint.
Yeah. What do you remember about kind of arriving at this subject for the episode or making the episode? I know it was back 8 or 9 years.
Yeah. Back 9 years ago. What I do remember about this episode is I'm not sure if they had just came out with them. I think they had been around for a minute, but, they had a part of the population that went through a course and they started wearing these different color tops. Mm-hmm. Our color was like powder blue. Yeah. And so they had these yellow ones on, and on the back of the yellow ones, it'd say IDAP worker. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And what these guys did where they used to, like wheelchair older individuals around or people that was disabled.
This was a newer program back then, you think?
This was a newer program back then. It wasn't that many at San Quentin at that time.
All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the first part of it. We'll come back in at the mid-roll, talk for a bit, then listen to the second segment, and then kind of wrap it up. So you want to fire this up? This is episode 9, a real classic from the archives, October 11th, 2017, Gold Coats and OGs.
Well, who gonna hire a 65-year-old man?
Oh, excuse me.
You gonna sit on the desk? You gonna sit behind the desk?
No, I'm 70 years old.
I'm 70 years old.
I can sit behind the desk. And I'm telling you something, matter of fact, if I run up on you, I might just knock you for your old lady. And they ain't have no problem. Because I'm gonna get in your pocket.
You are now tuned in to San Quentin's Ear Hustle from PRX's Radiotopia.
The following podcast contains language and content that may not be appropriate for all listeners.
I'm Earlonne Woods, a prisoner at San Quentin State Prison in California.
I'm Nigel Poor, a visual artist, and I volunteer at San Quentin.
And together, we're going to take you inside.
I can't do this. I can't take care of you, man. You got to go. You got to go to the hospital, man. I came to prison in 1978. And when I saw old dudes in prison, I was like, man, how in the hell you in prison at 60 years old? You tripping. What you do to be in prison at 60 years old?
Lonnie Morris is 66 years old. In 1977, he shot and killed a police officer during a jewelry store robbery. His sentence was 7 years to life.
I didn't think I was going to serve 7 years, but I sure didn't think I was going to serve 40. Because of the nature of my crime, I thought maybe I got out in 15, 20 years, something like that.
Lonnie's been in prison for 40 years, and 35 of those years have been right here in San Quentin. And it's pretty unusual for a guy to be here for so long.
Very unusual. I mean, most guys have spent a lot of time in other prisons before they get to San Quentin. Usually they come here from a higher security prison. Guys spend years trying to get to San Quentin because of the program.
And by programming, we mean educational opportunities and all the groups that are here.
They have a lot of self-help groups.
And like Shakespeare.
Right, you have No More Tears, which is a violence prevention group. Criminal Gangs Anonymous, which help criminals and gang members.
Yoga.
You do have yoga, and I do have to get into yoga.
And there's also, there's like gardening here. Oh, there's that new cooking class.
They have, Quentin cooks. They have, what is the one, coding?
Yeah, they're actually learning how to code. It's amazing. So there are so many opportunities here, and it makes sense that guys want to be here.
Yeah, because I wanted to transfer to San Quentin because of the film program that they had back in the day. And I did that. I got here, and now I'm into podcasting with you.
I am so glad you made it here.
Who you telling?
How long did it actually take you to get here?
It took me roughly about 6 years to get to San Quentin.
Man, you were tenacious.
I would tell you how I got here, but I'm going to let that go.
Okay, so all we have to say is thank God you got here.
I got here.
So when the guys get here, they tend to be on the mature side?
What that mean, like ripe?
Well, it actually means to me that the population at San Quentin is getting towards middle age and up. I mean, you guys aren't young.
I mean, what you mean not young? Look, they have 18-year-olds here. You know, it's a small segment of the population, should I say. But most of the guys are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And the old guys here face the same health problem that older people face everywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, the body doesn't respond as well as it used to respond. I used to run up the steps now. I walk up and I'm breathing a little harder. So all that stuff, comes to the fore, but I try to take care of myself.
Same as on the outside. Guys here try to take care of themselves, to put off the inevitable for as long as possible.
The inevitable?
You know, the thing no one wants to talk about.
Okay, I got you.
Dying.
I got you.
But here's what's different about aging in prison. For Lonnie and a lot of other guys, it's not just sickness and death that they're afraid of.
So for me, my big thought process is that I'm not dying in prison. So I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to entertain the thought of dying in prison. They put me outside the gate on the sidewalk and I kill over dead. I'd rather that happen than for me to die in prison. That's one of the things that myself and a lot of guys dread, the possibility of that.
The truth is, with an aging population, guys do get sick and they do die in prison. And that's what we're talking about in this episode. How does San Quentin, a community of prisoners, staff, and volunteers, deal with getting old and all that comes with it?
Hey, Earlonne, your sentence is 31 years to life. And do you ever think about getting old and maybe even dying in prison?
I never really think about that. Like when you look in the mirror and you see those extra gray hairs popping up.
Yeah, I've seen more of those lately on you.
Yeah, you realize, damn, it's happening. It's happening right in front of me. But I still got a full head of hair, so I'm good with that.
And you do have that, the Earlonne beard.
My brother don't have that.
I know, he always wears a hat too.
I do have that. But the one thing I don't worry about is getting killed in San Quentin. That wasn't always the case here. Death in San Quentin was not always a natural occurrence. So in your 40 years, how many people do you think you've witnessed die in prison?
Hundreds that I knew. And so it's been a lot of people. Gunshots, strokes, heart attacks, multiple people dying from stabbings, pneumonia, valley fever, HIV, hepatitis C, suicides, gang of suicides. Other guys been thrown off tiers. Other guys have jumped off tiers to their death, escaping being stabbed. No people been strangled to death. People burnt up in their cells. Some purposely set on fire. Others that their cell caught on fire, and they were burned to death by that. And one of my friends, I literally heard him being stabbed to death. And he was screaming, and we were all locked in our cell. The guy that killed him locked up in the cell with him at count time and stabbed him 37 times. And you could hear him screaming. Yeah, that was really horrible.
E, when was the last time somebody was killed at San Quentin? I can't even remember if there's been a murder since 2011 when I started volunteering here.
I think the last murder here probably was in the reception area.
Recently?
I don't know.
I mean, the point is it's not that common, right?
No,
If either of us
it's not that common here, but There's nothing like the level of violence that Lonnie experienced a few decades ago. Back then, getting old in prison meant you had survived.
When I first came to prison, respect was everything. You didn't disrespect people because back then you could lose your life. Prison was a very serious place, very dangerous place, and stabbings were regular. They were normal procedures. So it wasn't no, oh, let's fist fight, or let's talk about it. You was going to get stabbed. And good possibility you was going to die because people were stabbing you to kill you. So most of the older guys that were in prison that had survived and were still, quote unquote, walking the main line or what we call OGs were pretty serious guys.
I used to think OGs meant old guys.
Original gangsters. You better not call them old guys, Nigel.
The OG in the building. Yeah, total all shit. They know who I am. The one don't like all the loud music and all that loud romping and all that stuff they doing. You know what I'm saying? They're in your mind.
Andre Eric Watson has been in prison for 20 years, and he's serving a 65-year-to-life sentence for second-degree murder.
First of all, I wanted to be known. I refuse to die in prison. I don't care how old I get. I'm going to make it to the streets. But at the time...
Andre is 72 years old. He was recently diagnosed with stage 3 throat cancer.
We thought you was going to die, OG. You're losing all that weight. I'm a weight guy saying, no, I ain't going nowhere because I refuse to die in prison. Make a long story short, I went through the treatment and I survived it.
He survived, and there are two things that keeps him going in his old age. He loves to talk shit.
It's not that I'm downgrading them all the time, but if they open the door, I'm going to step in and talk some shit. Simple as that.
And there's another thing that keeps him going. The idea of getting out before he dies and finding him a female.
Give me a personal ad now. If you were going to make a personal ad, what would it say?
What would it say? It would say that, listen, I'm a really great guy. Simply, I'm elderly, really great, and in good shape. You know what I'm saying? Looking for middle age, yeah, good shape.
So, in other words, you want to go to the boom boom room?
Soon as possible. Soon as possible. Come on, man, 20 years? I mean, it's just like riding a bicycle. It may be, I've been had a bicycle a long time, but I sure know how to get on a ride again. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to fall off. I mean, that's one thing to keep guys like us living, to live through this, is we're looking to get out there to get in the saddle one more time. Simple as that.
Well, I have to say, I really hope that he gets back in that saddle before he's too old.
Me too, and me too.
Simple as that?
Simple as that. I'm with him on that. But you know, Andre is lucky to have survived throat cancer, and he's lucky he didn't grow old in here in the 1980s when this was a very different institution.
So you didn't see older guys as being frail or not being able to take care of themselves because they weren't as physically strong as the younger guys?
Well, you know, it's interesting because back then it wasn't like that. You couldn't afford to be frail and weak and fragile and vulnerable. Old cats was out there lifting, 5 and 6 quarters. They 60 years old and they pumping out and got 18-inch arms and 19-inch arms. So everybody had to stay fit. That was part of the regimen.
They don't have weights at San Quentin anymore.
No, they don't have them nowhere in the Department of Corrections, not unless you like in fire camp or something. But, we all surmised that California took them out of the prisons because the correctional officers couldn't control dudes.
What, because they were getting so big?
They were huge, like dudes walking around with 25-inch arms. And you like, hey, get against the wall. You're like, what?
Intimidating. But hey, I have to say, I see some correctional officers with some pretty big arms on them.
But nowadays, you don't need 18s on the hang anymore. Things are a lot safer on level 2s.
That's a good distinction. We were talking about level 2 prisons.
Might be different on level 4.
Okay, let's get back to that idea of aging in prison. And I want to bring in somebody who makes the process a lot easier.
My name is Richard Lathan.
Richard Lathan's a former gang member who's serving a 15-year-to-life sentence for murder.
And the job I do is taking care of people.
Richard is called a gold coat, which is guys that are employed by custody to assist the medical department. They go get guys who are, I don't want to say incapacitated, I just want to say they have some type of disability. Inmate Disability Assistance Program.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
It's IDAP worker. That's what we call them. We call them gold coats because the shirts, we wear blue shirts. They wear gold shirts, which identify them as someone different than us.
Right, and they can go to different parts of the prison that we can't go to.
Right.
My position is that I do everything that an inmate need assistance on. Going to get his food, cleaning up scabies, cleaning up feces, basically, assisting an inmate and when he used the bathroom on himself, making sure they get to their appointments, assisting them if they can't read or write. I basically just sit and wait to be needed, per se.
So when you say people that need help, you mean like elderly?
It could be elderly. It can be people that had operations, guys who have dementia, maybe, or guys who have colostomy bags. It could be guys mobility impaired or hearing impaired. It could be cancer patients bleeding. Then I have to take them to the hospital, come back, clean the blood up, make sure their cell is clean.
Richard's kind of an assistant, I would say, in the infirmary.
Right.
But we should make it clear that they're doctors, nurses, and other professional medical staff that work at San Quentin. And guys call it a hospital, but technically it's an infirmary.
Yeah, it's a newer infirmary. It's actually called a Correctional Treatment Center, and it was built in 2009.
Right, it's actually the first building you see when you walk in through the gate.
Right, and it's a new modern. It has like 5 floors. It's pretty fly for a prison, an old prison.
Yeah. Have you been there?
I've been in there. Yes.
For what?
You have to go there for dental. You have to go there for mental health. You have to go there for doctor appointments. I've only been on the 4th floor for filming purposes.
Yeah, the dreaded 4th floor.
Yeah, the 4th floor, that's where the guys are really sick. That's where they go. It's the place where a lot of guys don't want to end up.
Was it depressing when you went up there?
Well, I mean, I was just looking at it from the point of view where you just stuck in a cell.
Oh, man. I just imagined it was like a room at a hospital.
You're thinking of like some military hospital?
Exactly.
Everybody just laid up next to each other. They can like look over like, hey, what's up, Frank?
No, that's exactly what I was thinking.
You're in a cell. So have you ever noticed guys that didn't want to go like to the 4th floor when they're sick because they don't want to be alone or something like that?
Yeah, it's been quite a few guys. It's been quite a few guys didn't want to go to the 4th floor because they figured all they gonna give them is pills. I said, man, what you gonna do? Sit here and die?
I think most people are scared of being alone. They know once they get up there, there's no more coming down to the yard. There's no more general population. So they're basically isolating themselves, and I think that's what happens.
That's exactly right. That's what they scared of. There's no more affection, no more individuals looking out for them.
About 5 or 6 years ago, they put a guy in my cell named T. That was what we called him. But I knew him around the prison before he became my cellie. He was a very healthy guy, worked out every day. Before they took the weights, he'd lift weights. After they took the weights, he'd do pull-ups and push-ups and run the track. And so he was kind of like a health nut in terms of working out. Over like a 6-month period of time, I watched him deteriorate from this virile man into this person that could not get out of bed on his own accord. And I had to help him get out of bed. I had to bring his food to him sometime. They wanted to put him in the hospital, and he refused to go. And so myself and a group of guys that were his friends, we elected to try to take care of him as best we could. And he didn't initially tell me that he had cancer. He was like, oh, man, I got something going on. And then, after some time talking about it, and I guess he felt comfortable. He said, man, I got this cancer. He started sleeping a lot, and I think that had to do something with the chemo. No appetite, that kind of stuff there. And so I would fix him food. I'd fix little spreads in the cell so he could eat it. He didn't have to go worry about going to chow. And, I'd share my packages with him. Some days he could walk, some days he couldn't walk, to then becoming wheelchair bound. And his thing was, oh, man, I don't care what them doctors saying. I ain't going over there. Everybody go up in the hospital, die. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going out like that. And, I'm cool, and I'll be all right. And I remember waking up one morning, and I was on the top bunk, and I got ready to get out of bed, and he was laying on the floor. And I was like, T. And he was like, I'm all right. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't know if I can finish this. I didn't think this was going. I wasn't planning on this. Oh, damn, man. He was laying there, man. And I was like, you all right, man? And he was like, I'm all right. And I got down off the bed, and I went to pick him up, and he had just defecated on the floor, on himself. And so I had to pick him up out of the defecation and get him in the wheelchair and then get him outside the cell. And he kept saying, I'm all right. And I was like, bruh, you're not all right, man. You're not. I can't do this no more. You got to go to the hospital, man. And he was like, man, I'm all right. I ain't going to the hospital. I'm going to be okay. I can do it. I said, T, you cannot, bruh. Look at the cell. You done defecated all over the floor and in his bed. I looked in his bed and it was full of defecation. And I was like, bruh, I can't do this. I can't take care of you, man. You look at this, man. I don't know what to tell you, but you got to go. You got to go to the hospital, man.
This took place about 6 years ago, before San Quentin had gold coats like Richard, who could have helped with this situation.
So if you get guys that are stubborn or just tired, don't want to come out their cell, what's your position?
Well, if you tell me you sick, you coming out of there. I'm not going to let you sit in there. I'm going to make sense of it. I say, look, when you come in here and you dealing with me, you can't just sit in the cell and die. You're not going to do that. Because I'm going to let them know. I said, you can fight me all you want, but you're going to the hospital. And they understand.
Nigel, I asked Richard why he spends his time taking care of the sick and the elderly, because it can't be an easy job.
Oh, man, no.
Why do you take that stance?
Because I was a gang member. So now this is my chance of giving back. So this is how I do it. I figure if I give back to life, then my life will be given back to me. 26 years ago, I did take someone's life, and I'm with 2 attempted murders in the process. I was young then, 21 years old then. I'm turning 49 in January. I don't have the same outlook no more. I don't have the same ideologies. I don't have the same values, instill street values. No, don't abide by that. You know what I'm saying?
Richard's not getting any younger himself, and he's had his own health problems.
I done had a seizure a couple weeks ago, and the only thing I can think about is taking care of the fellas. It's the only thing I can think about.
Like we said, the gold coats weren't around when T was dying. When we come back from the break, we'll hear what Lonnie did. We back on the record, Bruce.
Yeah, welcome back. What's surprising you revisiting it after, I imagine, a few years not hearing it?
Well, one, I didn't know we had Lonnie on there crying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know Lonnie was being all vulnerable and stuff.
I feel like he's a vulnerable guy, right? That surprises you?
He's a very vulnerable guy, but it was just, to show cats' humanity. You just had cats in there that were just taking care of each other. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't like, oh, fuck you. Get it the best way you can.
Yeah. It probably upends people's expectations about prison in a few ways. Both
Right.
that, I don't know if you think of, grandfathers being in prison,
Right.
but it's more and more of the population. But also there's a job to take care of other incarcerated people.
You might see it to this day where it's something going on in the yard where they giving out, let's say, snacks and this, that, and the other, and you'll see one of them yellow coat dudes go down there and he'll come back with a box of stuff because he got to go pass them out to the people that couldn't get down to that yard.
Right. Well, it's a really good episode. That's one thing. Yeah, there's just so many good episodes this first season. It's very deep, like some of hearing Lonnie talk about sort of all the ways he's seen people die remind you of the history of San Quentin and how long he was a part of that history.
Right. And Lonnie, Lonnie was at San Quentin for 38 years, from when it was the roughest security,
like late 70s, right?
late 70s, to when it became what it was. And one of the things that came up, it was funny because I always hear it and I talk about it every blue moon. But in there, in this episode, I talked about how I wanted to be in San Quentin.
I noticed you skirt over that this time.
Yeah, I wanted to transfer to San Quentin. So what I realized is that the prison I was in, which is way in Southern California, would not allow me to transfer from that prison to any other prison. And so I always had this thing I called a nuclear option. The nuclear option was I can go to the psych and say some shit, and then I'll be transferred.
Because they didn't have mental health
They
care.
did not have a mental health program, and I knew that. But you don't want to say some shit that's going to stop the parole board from letting you out.
What'd you tell the psych?
I told the psych, so it goes back to Zoloft. I ended up watching maybe 10 Zoloft commercials. They come on late at night. And everything the ball was doing on there, you know how the ball be all depressed, can't sleep. I just went in there and just recited all that to the psych. And they felt I was depressed. And they put me on depression medication.
But then they said, you can't get the care that you need here, so we're going to transfer you to...
Yeah, they said that...
but it wasn't directly to San Quentin.
I asked for San Quentin. They sent me to Soledad. I was there for a couple of weeks, and I noticed that they had a volunteer sign-up list to go to San Quentin. And I signed up. And I was at that one prison, Soledad, for 67 days, and I was on my way to San Quentin, the place I wanted to be.
I like, compared, because I listened to the first episodes of Ear Hustle a fair amount, you can really tell that you and Nigel have gotten a lot more comfortable on mic.
We was amateurs.
Yeah. I mean, the first episodes were good, but you could tell you were a lot more comfortable both with the narration and with the banter and having fun.
Yeah, I think, I think early on, there was a lot of stiffness in us, you know what I'm saying? And trying to really get it to where we're, just fluent with it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and how'd you do that?
I don't know. It just take time, I think.
Yeah.
It just take time. And I still catch myself where, I put a note in the script like I sound reedy.
Yeah. I also like this one now that, since you've been out, we've started telling stories from a bunch of different places. I like that this one is really in San Quentin. You just feel like you're really inside. You hear stories from like up in the cells. I don't know. It just feels like really of that place. Okay. We're going to get to that mid-roll. We'll come back, listen to it sounds like a pretty short second segment.
It's the second segment. Yeah, it's probably like 9 minutes.
And then we'll wrap it up.
Yes.
So T is dying in his cell, but he refuses to go to the hospital. And Lonnie, his cellie, is having a really hard time with it.
I can't do it. He has to go. And I told him that. And they came and got him. And they took him to the hospital. And when he got up to the hospital, he told dudes, man, Lonnie sold me out, called the medical people on me, and had me sent over here to the hospital. I don't need to be over here. And he was complaining. And I was very, very, very angry. I was incensed. I was like, I'll be damned. I done took care of this dude all this damn time, did all this stuff for him, and he gonna say now that I crossed him into the hospital? What the hell am I supposed to do? So I was just really angry about that. And I remember sending word up there, and I felt bad after I did because this man is dying. But my anger got the best of me. I said, well, man, you tell T to go to hell, bro. He's a damn unappreciated dude that after all I done, he gonna send word out here that I sold him out. I said, that's BS, And I was cussing then. I'm not trying not to cuss right now. But anyway, that was the really difficult part, was that this is the way the relationship, kind of ended. He stayed up in the hospital a month or two, and then he died. So they, obviously they came and told me he had died and all that. And then we had a memorial service for him, went to that and, yeah.
Wow, that you blink and you missed that second segment. I wonder why we cut it there.
I have no idea.
I still can't imagine what it was like to produce this thing, but you were so cut off from a lot of it. Like you kind of knew in theory that there were tons of people listening, but you couldn't see really any evidence of that.
So I think when I really started to pay attention to how Ear Hustle was performing in society, it was through the tours that Lieutenant Robinson used to do. And now Lieutenant Berry does them. But the tours, I'm telling you, the tours used to always come into the prison. They'd do their tour around the prison. They'd come over to the education area. They'd go over to the newsroom side, talk to them, and then they'll leave.
Yeah.
And then Ear Hustle hit. Ear Hustle was the main attraction for the tour.
Was there ever a time when you thought you might grow old in prison?
So me, outside of Ear Hustle, I was in prison trying to change the law, trying to change California 3 strikes law with an initiative. And that's how I thought I was going to get out of prison. Ear Hustle, I ain't think nothing about that.
Yeah.
But I thought that I was going to get out of prison by changing the law and then free 50,000 other people. You couldn't tell me it wasn't going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting that, Nigel, we did her second sleeper a few weeks ago, and she chose Saber-Toothed Cat. Also all about kind of spending many years behind bars and how you reconcile yourself and make a life based on that. So you guys are both zeroing in on episodes that deal with the passage of time in prison.
Yeah.
Why are you guys both thinking about episodes about aging?
Oh, we're getting older. The one thing that I think is missing out of I think Lonnie had talked about how, back then, 60-year-old dudes was buff. Like they were working out, doing all their stuff. I think part of CDCR taking those weights out kind of like made the population get old.
Right.
And
'cause,
frail.
Like, keeping strength and muscle up is pretty key to
It's key to
staying
life,
healthy.
to living, to, you know what I'm saying? But again, they were on some, these guys are too big for our staff. Your
that's
staff
what it was?
Your staff need to start working out. I'm just saying.
I meant to ask, you mentioned early on you've been meaning to get into the yoga that they do in prison. Did you ever do it inside?
I was in yoga. My favorite shit, you might know the term, was the last thing you do.
Yeah, like the child's pose? Is that what it is?
No, it's the pose you just lay down and you just go to sleep in that pose.
Savasana or
something? It's something like that.
Yeah.
It's something like that. You know what I'm saying? That was my favorite time of yoga.
A moment of zen after.
Man, that was my favorite.
After a workout. Well, thank you for returning us to this one. I'm glad to revisit it.
Yes.
Thanks, E.
Thank you.
Thanks to Lonnie Morris for sharing his story.
Yeah, that was a hard one. Thanks also to Richard for coming on to the podcast and explaining what a gold coat does. Keep up the good work, Richard, but also take care of yourself. Our sound designer is Antwan Williams. Pat Mesiti-Miller is our outside production advisor. Our story editor is Curtis Fox, and our executive producer for Radiotopia is Julie Shapiro.
We also want to thank Warden Ron Davis, and as you know, every episode has to be approved by this guy here.
I am Lieutenant Sam Robinson, the Public Information Officer at San Quentin State Prison, and I approve this story.
Next time on Ear Hustle, our final episode of the season. It's about getting out of prison the right way and the wrong way.
I didn't really know if I was going to make it, but I'd put so much effort into it, and I had planned it, and I had to ask myself, you talk a good story, and I'll see if you're going to follow through.
Ear Hustle is a proud member of Radiotopia from PRX, a collection of the best podcasts around. Radiotopia is made possible with support from the Knight Foundation. Hear more at radiotopia.fm.
Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at EarHustleSQ. And for more information on all things Ear Hustle, go to our website, earhustlesq.com. Nigel has been telling me about all those iTunes reviews, and thank you. Thank you for all the positive reviews. We appreciate that. So, for Sarah Koenig and Earlonne Woods, I'm not.
Wait a minute. I do not sound like Sarah Koenig. I don't care what people say.
That's a compliment.
I know, but I just don't hear it.
Normally pimping on the deer. I can't stop him. He macking and pimping every time I see him. You guys go to sleep and dream about it and wake up and think the game is real. That ain't game. That's dreams.
And thanks to Andre Eric Watson for popping into our studio and talking some shit.
When I started talking to you, you started sharpening me up on different things, but...
Well, it must not be taken, because as long as I've been trying to sharpen you up, you're still dull.
On the real, though, I'm Earlonne Woods.
And I'm Nigel Poor. Thanks for listening.
Radiotopia.